Savanna, what else do we have on our docket?
Last thing is a crackpot theory that was submitted by our listener, Kathy Hill. And this is actually geography related, so it kind of ties into our location discussion in a very roundabout way. And I mentioned at the start of the show that we wanted to talk about her theory tonight just because the release of the official Pan Am map is imminent. It will be released at some point in the Hunger Games Adventures game on Facebook. We just don't know when, but it could be any day now, really, I guess. So we wanted to talk about this before that map is released. So this is about the location of the Capitol. And she emailed this to us, and I'm going to read her email just so that you guys can get the full explanation. I have a crackpot theory that the Capitol is in Canada. Many people assume the Capitol is in Colorado, and more specifically Denver. I believe they just make that assumption because when you think a big city in the Rockies, Denver is the first to come to mind. What we know about the Capitol is that it is located in what was formerly North America, and keep in mind North America includes Canada, and it is immediately west of the Rocky Mountains. The Rocky Mountains go as north as northern British Columbia, and as far south as New Mexico. The reason I'm concluding that the Capitol is north in British Columbia, Canada, is because of the length of the train ride from District 12 to the Capitol. District 12 is located in Appalachia, and since Suzanne Collins read Katniss to have a southern accent, I believe District 12 is Tennessee, Kentucky, North or South Carolina. West Virginia is also another possibility. Savannah, am throwing that out there. She continues to say, just to be a devil's advocate, I used one of the more southeastern towns in Appalachia to get as many miles between District 12 and the Capitol as possible. I picked Asheville, North Carolina. From the Hunger Games, we know that the train ride from District 12 to the Capitol was overnight and took about 14 to 20 hours. And she concluded this because the reaping was at 2 o'clock p.m., and they arrived the next morning in the Capitol. There is no train ride that would take 14 to 18 hours to Denver. The distance is too short. By U.S.'s lowest standard of high-speed rail of 125 miles per hour, it would get you to Denver in 12 hours. But that is today's lowest standard, and we know the Capitol has improved transportation technology. In the movie, Effie says the train goes 300 miles per hour. By that figure, if you go to Prince George in the northern Rocky Mountains of British Columbia, it would only take 9 hours to get there. So I think it's feasible that Suzanne Collins used today's high-speed standard in Europe and Asia of 186 miles per hour. That would put a train trip from Asheville, North Carolina to Prince George, British Columbia at 15 hours. And she goes on to talk some more about it. She says, I love the idea that the tyrannical capital could be located in a place where we think of today as being polite and peaceful like Canada. I might also add that Donald Sutherland, our President Snow, is Canadian. So basically she's saying that because District 12 is located in Appalachia, if the train ride really did take 14 to 18 hours, the Capitol must be farther away than Denver. I actually think this theory has a ton of validity to it. What are your immediate reactions? Shylah, I know that you love a good...
Yeah, and before you answer that, Shylah, something that Team Chat Room has pointed out, which I think is correct, one slight error in that absolutely brilliant hypothesis is that Effie actually says 200 miles per hour, not 300 miles per hour.
Oh, well, either way, it still applies.
Right. But I just want to make sure everyone, and kudos to Team Chat Room for pointing that out.
Yeah.
But it actually even works better with 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, it does, actually.
So anyway, sorry, Shylah, right?
So Shylah loves a good crackpot. So I want to hear Shylah's immediate reactions.
This holds a lot of credence because the Denver theory is factually incorrect. Denver is east of the Rocky Mountains. So it cannot be where the capital is located.
There you go.
So
and,
anything west of the Rocky Mountains holds water.
And Suzanne Collins does make it a point to say that Pan Am is in what was formerly North America. If she was just thinking United States, I feel like she would have just said United States. But she says North America, which leads me to believe that parts of Canada and Mexico are included.
There's when you're looking at, I've got Google Maps open too, and just, the placement in British Columbia is pretty incredible because there's two mountain ranges that kind of would enclose the capital. There's the Rockies on one side and then an unknown Canadian mountain ridge on the other. Sorry about my geography. But I think it's pretty well protected, and that's with the train travel. I mean, that's a pretty solid theory in my opinion.